All right, welcome to episode 1 of Controlled Substance. I'm super excited for this one because I've been wanting to start a podcast for about 3 or even 4 years now. And the reason why I had it is because I thought that I needed to create a podcast about business tactics and how to's and the kind of content that I was used to creating. But what I was really passionate about is not talking about the specifics of tactics, but to talk about the life of founders, because I believe that entrepreneurship is the ultimate self development program in the world. You get to experience the highs and the lows. You experience fear and shame and guilt and stress, and you have to deal with all of that. And when I had conversations with 9-figure founders and people who had 9 to 5 jobs, and some people I met for years, some people I just recently met. And every time we had a conversation, I gathered an insight. I learned something about their journey and how it reflected on my journey, and vice versa. Hearing their aha moments from the things that I share felt really fulfilling. And I felt really in flow in those moments. And it kind of reminded me the flow that I get when I journal, because I get to write about my most authentic self and thoughts and emotions. And through that process, I gather more insights that make me a better person, as I define it, and a better entrepreneur, a better friend, a better son, a better brother. And I realized that a lot of it had to do with me being an entrepreneur, or the journey that entrepreneurs have. And I was really excited to talk about that. Like, through building a business, what are the insights? What are the personal development aspects that you get as a founder? But I didn't want to choose between business and personal, because I did want to talk about building my business and helping other businesses, sharing the insights and the tactics and the how-tos. But I thought that I had to choose between one or the other. Then I realized it's all part of the same story. So this podcast is the intersection between the two, between, hey, I'm documenting my journey to building my businesses and helping others, but I'm also sharing what's behind the scenes, and especially what happens here and here inside entrepreneurs and founders. And these are my insights and the things that I've gathered and me documenting the journey. So I hope you find it valuable. And when I say that some of my personality, a lot of my personality is tied to me being an entrepreneur, it comes in two parts. One is entrepreneurship can make things worse, right? Even though most of us, or all of us, started or became entrepreneurs because we wanted to create a change in our lives, whether it's money, whether it's status, whether it's confidence, whatever. But this can really backfire. And there is a fine line between, hey, I'm an entrepreneur and I want to do more and I want to grow and I'm motivated by the things that I don't have because now I pursue them. But this is the trap. The trap is that the goal is always infinite, or at least for many entrepreneurs, when they get to a certain point, they want more because there's always someone ahead of you. There's always more to accomplish. And this is the trap. And just like fitness, you can always get leaner. You can always get stronger. There's always someone who's more admired, or, the body that you want. And when you chase that goal, it starts as motivation, but it can also easily turn into self-sabotage. And I can share that I sacrificed sleep and relationship and my peace of mind in pursuit of that infinite goal. And I realized that the goal was not making more money so that I can live better, because it comes at a certain point, but a lot of it had to do with validation. Like, I needed to know that I'm doing things right. And the money that I made was just my scorecard. But if there is no end, then you never feel that you always chase the validation. I was chasing goals to feel good enough, not because they really mattered. And I think that a lot of entrepreneurs can relate, because I have these conversations with entrepreneurs And these are things that many people don't talk about. And that is part of the reason why I created this podcast. And entrepreneurship is also a coping tool, right? So I can share an example where I realized in retro perspective that business success replaced physical or social validation. And this was the time where I took my business more seriously and I wanted to have more ambitious goals. And I said, you know what, meeting with friends or dating or partying is a distraction. I have this goal and I'm doing the responsible step to deprioritize that. And I don't think it was a wrong decision. But what I failed to see, and I only saw it probably a year later, is that now I chase the same social validation and physical validation through business success, as in more sales and more leads and more growth means I'm doing well. I'm doing good things. Sending out an email or putting up an ad or launching a funnel or a product feels like posting a photo online or texting someone you're really into. And you're just sitting there waiting for a response, hoping to feel seen and hoping to get the feedback that you want. But through that process, once you realize that, you're like, okay, maybe the business is just a mirror of insecurities. It's not just the skills. Now I can see where I'm chasing that validation, where I need to feel better about myself. And the goal, the money, the leads, the success, growth is just the mean goal to get there. And the turning point was actually when I had a relationship that ended and I moved to another city for that person. And then when the relationship ended, I had to move out of that city. I decided to move out of that city. And it was the first time that I was truly on my own. And this is where I started my nomadic chapter for about 15 or 16 months across different countries, continents, cities. It was a great experience, but I was truly on my own. And this is where I took my business on to the next level. And this is why I decided that I'm going to focus more on the business because I was really passionate about it. And it means that I sent more emails and I reach out to more people and I try different things. And some days felt great, but others felt like a gut punch. For example, when you send out an email or you launch something new, the emotions that I felt even before that thing happened, before I knew if it was successful or not, the emotions were identical to other parts of life, like shame and rejection and insecurity and the need for validation. And what I realized is that usually what most entrepreneurs fear of is not the result or not getting the result. It is the feeling that they'll feel if the result doesn't come. So when I realized that, I changed my perspective as to what winning is. Winning for me became sending out an email or reaching out to that person or doing the thing, even though I'm afraid of the result, even though I know that I probably won't get the result that I want. And the winning was just doing it despite of that fear. And just like you work out at the gym, at first, it's really hard, it's messy, it's not fun. But then just going out to the gym, just leaving the house and showing up at the gym, that's winning. And if you're okay with the emotion, then you are not afraid of it, which means that you're not afraid of taking action, which means that you can keep taking action without hesitation. You don't need to think 10 times before you send an email or before you reach out to that person or before you launch anything new. But you just do it because you're not afraid of it, because you either get the result that you want or you get more data. And that's another realization that I had. It's like, this is all just information. When I don't get the result that I want, it doesn't mean that I'm not a good entrepreneur or that I failed. It just means that specific thing that I've done or the 10 specific things that I've done were not successful or did not get the result that I wanted. So let's get curious about it. What happened here? What could I have done differently? And just being okay with it. So either way, just by doing and putting in the reps, you get better and better. And sometimes it takes 100 reps. But if you're okay and you keep learning from each of these reps, whether they were successful or not, then you can always keep doing it. And eventually you'll be good enough to get the result that you want. So now for me, again, the win is the action, not the outcome, because I always get some outcome data. So the reason why I decided to call this podcast Controlled Substance is because I run a supplement brand. But the main reason is because I believe that entrepreneurship can be really addictive to so many people. When you check your sales stats every 10 minutes, when you feel great when sales are high, but when you feel terrible when sales are low and things are not working, and you reflect that on your self-worth, and you expect that dopamine hit from seeing things that are working, which is okay because it keeps you motivated, but it can also make you feel really bad. And you need to chase bigger spikes and more dopamine. And when sales are flat, okay, this is boring. I need more and more. And again, there is a fine line between motivation and self-sabotage. So just being aware of that it can be really addictive, just like any other substance, because our brains just release dopamine when things are working, when things make us happy. But checking sales stats every 10 minutes gets you addicted to that. You feel that like little crunch in your stomach, like I wanted to feel better. I wanted to look and I wanted to see a better result. Or, oh, now I see great result. Now I'm happier. Now I feel confident. Now I feel relieved. So just being aware of it, I think, is enough for most people, because they'll start seeing how those little things that they do every day and how they interpret the numbers and the thoughts that they have on their business. And it's the first step to break and change these patterns. At least for me, that's how it was. So this is episode 1. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed recording it, and I'll see you in the next one.